Hi there, my name is Dan. I'm a young music leader on the Plugin project. This session today is all about drums. So we're going to focus on three parts of the drum kit today. The first being the kick drum. This is your deep and punchy sound. It's normally used with a pedal, which is why it's called the kick drum. To make this sound without a drum kit, you could use your palm against a hard surface. You could get a pan from the kitchen and hit it. You could also just stomp your foot on the floor. So the second part that we're going to look at is the snare drum. This is slightly higher in pitch than the bass drum, and it's your really punchy sound that comes just after the kick. So to make this without a drum kit, we can click our fingers, we can whack two fingers on the side of a table, we can also clap our hands, or we can find a saucepan from the kitchen and give that a hit with some drumsticks. So the third part we're going to look at is the hi-hat, and it's two cymbals that crash together by the foot pedal. To create this kind of sound without a drum kit, we're going to either use two spoons or some kind of metallic object, or we could simply click our fingers or tap our fingers against a desk. So now that we understand the three parts of the drum kit a little more, we're going to move on to a task. So we need to find a way to make all of our three sounds. It could be a drum kit, some software, maybe GarageBand or an iPad, the drum voice on a keyboard, pots and pans or other items from around the house, or just your hands and feet. So we've got two tracks for you. One's a rock track and one is a hip hop track. So we're going to learn different drum patterns for each of those tracks. So we're going to listen to the rock track now. There's a click at the start, and then we're just going to find the main beats and we're going to count in time with it. So I can hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now that we've found those main beats, get your hi-hat sound that you found earlier, whether that was a metallic sound, or whether it was finger clicks or tapping on a table, and you can either record it into the computer or iPad, or you could just play it to yourself for now. For my hi-hat sound, I've just got a small recording of my keys. So I'm going to be using Cubase, which is a music production software, to create my drum beat, but you can use any other kind of music software to create this. You can also just play along to the backing tracks using the sounds that you found earlier. So I'm just going to copy and paste my hi-hat sound, which is my keys, onto every beat. And I've just chosen a different part of the track and I've looped it round so we can hear what the drum rhythm sounds like. Whether you've put this into some music software or you're playing along, it should sound something like this. So now we're going to get our kick drum instrument that we found earlier. And that might have been a foot stomp, it might have been your palm against a hard surface, or it might have been a pot or pan from the kitchen. I've got a recording of my hand going against my fridge. So now we're going to play the kick drum on beats 1 and 5. If you've got your worksheet, that's the numbers in bold. So when you're listening to the track and you're counting, the kick drum will be playing on these beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to move my kick drum to beats 1 and 5, and yours should sound similar. So finally, our snare drum, we created that earlier, either through the finger clicks or hand claps. We may have used a pot or a pan. I just created my snare drum with a simple clap. We're going to play that on the bold numbers, and that's going to be numbers 3 and 7. So we're going to count along to the track and play on beats 1 and 7, the bold numbers in the worksheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool, so I'm just going to drag my snare drum to beats 3 and 7. So it should sound something like this. So now we're going to have a look at the hip hop track. Try and count in time the same way that you did with the rock track. So with this one, get your hi-hat that you had earlier, and we're going to play it on every single beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is what mine sounds like. So now that we've got our hi-hat down, we're going to put our kick drum down, and we're going to play those on beats 1 and 6. That's just the bold numbers in the worksheet. So be a bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A bit more difficult. So this is what my kick drum sounds like. So now that we've got the kick drum and the hi-hat down, we've just got to get the snare down now, same as last time. So we're just going to have a listen to the track again, counting along, but our beats are going to be on 3 and 7. And those are just the bold numbers in the worksheet. So it's going to sound a bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is what my snare drum sounds like. Great, we've got the basic drum patterns for the rock track and the hip hop track. So we can try to experiment and see what else we can do with those beats. So on the hip hop track, I've got my kick drum on beats 1 and 6. I'm going to add another kick drum onto beat 8. And by doing this, it makes the track feel like it's moving, like it's progressing. So I've got a new kick here. I'm going to place it on beat 8. And this is what it sounds like. I think that sounds pretty cool. What we could also do is move that kick that we have on beat 8 and move it across to beat 2. And that gives the beat quite a different feel as well. It sounds more laid back. So now that we've tried a few variations on the hip hop track, let's see what we can do with the rock track. So with the rock track, we can do a similar thing to what we did with the hip hop track. We can try putting our kick drum on beat 8. We can also try putting it on beat 2. If you're feeling really adventurous, you could try putting the snare drum on beat 4.5. It sounds a little bit like this. So to get my snare on beat 4.5, I'm just going to count along, and then when it gets to the space in between 4 and 5, I'm just going to put my snare there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's easier to feel it than it is to count it. So we've had a really good look into the 3 types of drum instruments from the drum kit, which was the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. We've had a look at how we might be able to create those without a drum kit. We've learned how we can put it into a rock track and a hip hop track. And also look at how we can experiment with that as well by changing things around and maybe adding or taking away certain bits of the kit. So go away and experiment this with yourselves, have a look at what you can do, make it more unique to what you like. Maybe you could change the sounds of the drum kit, so maybe you could have a different sound for the kick or a different sound for the snare. Putting two spoons together might be a better sound for the hi-hat than finger clicks. Have an experiment and see what you can find. Combine sounds and move things around.